So there's an old proverb that blood is thicker than water, but I've never really bought into that because my brother, sister, and I have never been particularly close. Um, you know, sorry, so somebody there, there's some sound going on. I guess people
I
need to
get it.
mute. Okay, thanks. Yeah, my brother, sister, and I, we've never been particularly close. Maybe when we were younger, but as we've gotten older, our differences have certainly become more apparent. And we live in different cities. I'm in Vancouver, my brother's in Toronto, and my sister's in Halifax. Now, my brother's an accountant, and he self-identifies as a capitalist. I work in community development, and I identify as a socialist. So we never ever talk politics. Do this thing. And my sister and I have been estranged for as long as I can remember. The last time I saw her, and I hadn't seen her in a year, within 5 minutes, she told me to fuck off, and my immediate response was "fuck off, bitch." And that was the end of our conversation for the rest of the evening and the rest of the trip. And I always say to people, there's a reason why we live on opposite coasts. And I can't recall any truly loving, happy family get-togethers with my parents and my siblings. So I'm always suspect, and I guess a little bit wistful, whenever I see those movies with big, happy family gatherings, particularly those movies around this time, and they're always around this time of year, where the family's at odds, and by the end of the movie, they've all reconciled and they're all hugging. And I think to myself, that only happens in Hallmark movies, right? But then there are the Christmas Eves at my friend Anna's. Anna invites a really intimate group of close family and friends for these very laid back, chill evenings on Christmas Eve. And it's become an annual tradition. And as much as I hate the Hollywood, excuse me, as much as I hate the holiday season, I really look forward to those Christmas Eves, which of course won't happen this year. So I've known Anna for 16 years, and we met through mutual friends. And every year we would, the bunch of us would go to the Vancouver Folk Fest together. And then I think about 12 years ago, those friends moved away. And I called up Anna and said, we should still go to the Folk Fest together. And we did. And we got very stoned, and I followed Anna around the Folk Fest all day like a very needy puppy. And we've been good friends ever since. And Anna's one of those people that she's always been there for me when I've needed support. So over the years, my partner, Gary, and I, we've been together for 8 years now. We've looked after Anna's son, Luca, her dog, and her house when she's gone on vacation. She's a single mom, and her ex-husband is mainly out of the picture. So on those occasions, we're acting as Luca's guardians. So for that reason, I suspect when Anna introduces us to people, she usually introduces Gary and I as Luca's uncles. Because to refer to us as friends of the family really doesn't do justice to our relationship. So a year ago, last July, Gary and I looked after Luca, the dog, in the house, and there's a budgie too, when Anna went camping off the grid. And Luca went missing on a Thursday morning, which was highly uncharacteristic of him because he was usually very responsible about keeping in touch. So right away, we knew something was wrong. And at 2 a.m, I had to file a missing persons report. And then I had to deal with I had to deal with the police and Anna's relatives and neighbors and Luca's friends until I was able to get in touch with Anna, and she got back to the city the next day. And Luca was missing for an agonizing 3 days. So there was a small group of us that kept vigil with Anna while she tried to piece together Luca's whereabouts. And finally, Saturday evening, Anna sent us all home because we were all emotionally and physically exhausted. So as soon as we got home, I got a phone call from Anna, and all she said was, "They found Luca. He fell 3 stories. He's in ICU in the hospital. That's all we know. We're heading there now. I'll call you later." Well, initially I was relieved, but as the hours wore on, I got more and more worried. Was he still alive? Was he in a coma? And I braced myself for the worst. And finally, about 5 hours later, it was about 11 in the evening, I got a text from Anna, and all it said was, "He's going to be okay. I'll call you in the morning." Well, when I got that news, I just broke out into uncontrollable tears, and I could not stop crying for about an hour. Could not stop crying. And my partner Gary was looking at me going, "So like, I've never seen you like this before. I don't know what to do for you." And I just kept on bawling and sobbing back at him saying, "You don't understand how much they mean to me and how important they are to me. And I love them so much." Well, I'm happy to report that Luca made a full recovery. And of course, we supported Anna any way we could during that time. And, usually it was things like walking the dog or buying groceries or buying meals and stuff like that. Um, and last February, Gary and I took the plunge again and took care of Luca, the dog, and the house when Anna went on vacation, which really meant look after the dog and the house and make sure that 17-year-old Luca doesn't have any wild parties. Well, even before I had arrived at Anna's, Luca had practically set the entire kitchen on fire. I mean, seriously, the fire department came, the stove was ruined, the cupboards around the stove were melted, and there was smoke damage. And Luca tried to play things down, and he said to me, "Well, in my defense, it was an honest mistake." And I just turned to him like a stern parent, and I went, "No, hold it right there. No, not listening. It was careless, and you could have killed someone." And then later that evening at around 10:30 at night, I had to play the stern parent again when he asked if his girlfriend could sleep over. But I handled the situation like a pro. I mean, hey, I've known that kid since he's 2 years old, so I'm on to his tricks. He's, he's smart and talented and growing into a very handsome young man. And he can also be very, very charming. But he's also a teenager with a propensity to get into trouble. And I love him like a son. So a few months ago, Anna and I were texting back as we often do. And at the end of the conversation, she texted, as she often does, "Love you guys." And I texted back, "Love you more. You both mean so much to me. We're like family." And Anna texted back, "We are family." Thank you.